Hello everybody, my name is Alex McGregor, and this is the 2021 buying guide for Move Shoot Move rotators. So if you are looking at picking up a Move Shoot Move rotator to improve your astrophotography, there is several options that we can look at, and it's one of the reasons that I love Move Shoot Move so much is that you can customize your user experience based off of where you live, what type of photos you're trying to take, and how much weight you want to carry around. So let's jump into moveshootmove.com and review a couple of the different options that they have available. So on their homepage, you can click on shop, and this brings up all the different options. Move Shoot Move is really cool because you can buy some things like a la carte, just whatever you need, or you can get these packages that they've designed for you. So let's jump into the 2-in-1 star tracker and look at the different buying options. So right here in this drop down menu, you can see all these different ones. And the first option you can click on is rotator only without the pointer. So this will come with just the Move Shoot Move and the hot shoe cable that you can use with DSLRs to trigger the rotation motion, as well as the different studs that you'll need, the Allen wrenches, and the charging cable. The Move Shoot Move charges really nicely right on this side port with a USB-C. So if you are looking to pick up a second one, or if you already have a way of aligning it, you can go with just the rotator. But getting into these kits where you start to put together your different experience, basic kit B is the rotator and the pointer. So it comes with everything I mentioned before, plus the laser pointer. So this slips right into this bracket. Tighten the screw down. You mount it on the Move Shoot Move, and then you use this laser to align to Polaris. We'll pretend that Polaris is up there on my shelf of stuff I haven't put away. So this is the quickest, the easiest, the most efficient way of aligning your rotator is with this laser. But the laser has a couple of downsides, one of them being that you do have to charge the battery. And it comes with a rechargeable battery, but Move Shoot Move doesn't currently supply the charger for it. They're working on a couple of different things. There's some on Amazon, and I'll post links down below, that work really well for charging this battery. The other thing is that if this laser gets cold, it's very temperamental. So I haven't had an issue with this personally, and I shoot in Colorado in the winter. I just keep it in either my inside pocket in my pants, like usually I'll wear several layers of pants out there and this goes in the pocket, or I'll just slip it right into my glove while I'm setting up. And you only need your laser to be working for like 30 seconds because aligning is so quick. So you can pop it onto that bracket, make your alignments, put it back in your glove, you should be good to go. Now moving on, the basic kit A is the rotator and the polar scope. So again, rotator, all the stuff it comes with, but instead of the laser, it comes with this polar scope. The polar scope works a lot like the laser does as far as how you attach it. It comes with this bracket here, slip it right in, tighten this screw, and then set this little piece of the bracket on the Move Shoot Move. I really do enjoy the polar scope. The benefits are that it doesn't require a battery, it will never be too cold to use it. The downside is that it is a little bit more difficult. While it is on the side of the rotator, you have to get down and look through it and align it with Polaris. So that can be a little bit challenging just to find Polaris with this. Then you have to line it up with a specific part of the little reticle inside there. I have a video right here that explains all of how to do this. Just know that there's pluses and minuses to both of these. Moving on to the basic kit C, which is the rotator, the pointer, and the polar scope. This is a direction I like to encourage people to go, because sometimes you want to align with the polar scope if you want a little bit more precision. Sometimes you want to align with the laser if you're just doing wide angle things. And sometimes you might want to align with both. This is something I might actually do fairly frequently, is have both of these on the tracker on either different side. The reason is that you can pop on the laser and get a rough alignment to Polaris, turn the laser off, and then fine tune it with the polar scope. The laser being on just helps you find the right star in the polar scope, because that can be kind of challenging at night. So the basic kit C is a really nice option. Now let's look at the starter kit. The starter kit is the rotator plus a ball head plus a pointer. So that will come with something like this. This isn't the ball head from Move Shoot Move, but they are fairly similar. So this can be used to attach your Move Shoot Move to your tripod. You'll need something like this with an adjustable base to attach to your tripod, and then you can make all of your adjustments and make all of your alignments right there. If you already have a couple of ball heads and you're happy with how they work, you can skip purchasing this one from Move Shoot Move, but if you need it, they have an option for you. Now let's look at the Australia Pro Kit. This comes with the rotator, the wedge, the polar scope, and the phone mount. So this is actually an incredibly useful little device if you're somewhere in the southern hemisphere. The southern hemisphere is more challenging because there's no Polaris. There's no one North Star that is due north enough to just align to that. So you really have to think about aligning to the pole rather than to a specific star. So this actually works really well with your phone's GPS and an app you can get on your phone, which will give you an overlay of the night sky. And I have a video on how to use this right there. So you mount it onto the back of your Move Shoot Move. You take your phone case off, mount it right there, and then you can use your phone's GPS and screen to actually align with the pole. This is super useful for the southern hemisphere. The Australia kit also comes with the polar scope, and there's directions on how you can align to some different stars, not just Polaris, using this polar scope, and I'm going to be making a video about that coming out in the future. Another thing that this kit comes with is this wedge from Move Shoot Move. So instead of the ball head to attach your rotator to your tripod, it has this wedge. Let me show you real quick why this wedge is so helpful. When you do have just the ball head and you loosen it, it can move in literally any direction, and it can be a little bit challenging to make really fine and precise alignments. So when you swap out the ball head for the wedge, it fits on there a little bit more snugly. And then using these 3 different adjustment screws, you can make really fine adjustments that are controlled by gears and not just controlled by how steady you can hold it. If you can notice, as I spin this knob, the angle of the Move Shoot Move is changing. And that's just really nice for that fine little control. And then these 2 screws on either side here can change the panning left and right. The downside of the wedge is that it can't spin in a full circle, so you have to get it close to lined up north before you set the Move Shoot Move on. But that's really not an issue. If you find the North Star, you should be good with this, or the Southern Pole if you're shooting in Australia or somewhere in the Southern Hemisphere, where this whole kit is designed for. Now, I think that this kit could also be really useful for people in parts of Europe and different parts of the world, even in the Northern Hemisphere, where they can't use the laser because of different rules. They don't want to be sending a bright green beam up into the night sky. This phone mount can be used to get you really close to properly aligned, and then adding the polar scope on there can get you the really fine final alignment. So really interesting kit. I might start recommending the Australia kit for anybody who can't use the laser. All right, moving on through the Move Shoot Move options, we come to the complete kit, which is a really nice kit option. It will come with the Move Shoot Move on the wedge. It will come with your puller scope. It will come with your laser. It will come with, obviously, your cable and all the nuts and bolts required to use all of this. And it also will come with a headlamp. Now, this isn't the headlamp that Move Shoot Move supplies. This is one that I got from like Walmart or something like that. But the headlamp that Move Shoot Move offers is kind of nice because it has a red light and it also has a rechargeable battery that charges via a USB port, whereas these just are AAAs, and I have tons of AAAs with me all the time in case this dies. So if you are looking just to get everything, you get your base, you get your aligning devices, you get a headlamp, the complete kit is really nice. Now, if you don't want to spring for the entire complete kit, Move Shoot Move offers 2 different levels of Pro Kit. We're first going to look at Pro Kit A, which is the rotator, the puller scope, the headlamp, and the wedge. So this is a really nice setup. I would definitely recommend going to either the Pro Kit A or the Pro Kit B. The main difference looks like it is with the Pro Kit A, you get the puller scope, and with the Pro Kit B, you get the laser. So whichever one of the alignment methods is right for you is the difference in the Pro Kit A and B. The most important thing I think it comes with is this base. This wedge is so much nicer than a ball head to align. And then the final offering they have here is the phone kit. So that will come with a ball head, a phone mount, and your rotator. It does not come with the wedge. So if you do need the phone mount and you can afford to go with the Australia kit, I would definitely recommend going that direction because it includes the wedge instead of the ball head, and it also includes the puller scope, which can be nice even in the Southern Hemisphere. Let's move on really quickly and look at some of the other a la carte options that Move Shoot Move offers. Everything that you saw is part of the kits. You can also buy separately. So you can buy the ball head, the laser, the scope, the wedge, the phone mount, the headlamp, which I might want to get one of the headlamps. You can buy a mini tripod, which I'm shooting on right now and I've actually used out in the field, and mini tripod is good enough. Some of the things that don't come in a kit that you might want to look into are things like an intervalometer to help control the exposures, and Move Shoot Move does supply these. And you can also look at my very, very favorite way of attaching the Move Shoot Move to the tripod is this 3-way geared head. Let me set this up for you. Now, what I love so much about using this 3-way geared head, even compared to the wedge, is that it has these kind of macro and micro different adjustment knobs. So if you spin this just more rigid part of the knob, you can make large adjustments, and then you can fine tweak the adjustments by spinning this part of the knob. It makes aligning so much easier, whereas the wedge can only rotate so far. This can rotate in a full 360 degrees, and then you can adjust the pitch and the tilt and the angle of it, all with these really nice geared knobs. So this is a bit of an extra. I think it costs, let's see, it's for sale on moveshootmove.com for $200. It's not a necessity, but if you want the easiest experience, I would definitely recommend picking one of these up, and they can also be useful for all types of photography. I've now replaced my ball head when I'm doing landscape work or real estate work or video work with this geared head. It is wonderful to use. Another thing that Move Shoot Move has, and it's currently just on pre-order, is a right-angled viewfinder. So as I mentioned before, sometimes it can be awkward to look through this puller scope because you have to bend down and get underneath it and look up. So Move Shoot Move has an attachment that comes on and gives this a little right angle so that it's easier to see from the top. I don't have one yet, but it definitely is interesting. There's various mounting devices like a multi-purpose panoramic mount that can just spin your camera and it's really low profile. There's a pan tilt head, which is similar to the wedge, but not as good. I would recommend going with the wedge. And there's also a dew heater for $18. If you live in somewhere that is really humid, condensation can build up on and inside of your lens and make photographing at night impossible. So this dew heater wraps around the outside of your lens and can warm it up just enough to keep you shooting, even in weird cold conditions. And the last thing I want to talk about is the Z and the V mounts from Alan Wallace, the ones that he helped Move Shoot Move develop. Some people have been replacing the ball head or the wedge with just using the V mount or the Z mount, and I guess that is possible. If you're looking to cut down on weight and cut down on bulk, these can collapse to be way smaller than bringing the wedge with. But in all practicality, aligning with just the Z mount is a little bit challenging and a little less precise because you don't have those gears. It can work, but that's not the best use I've found for these mounts. My favorite thing I've found to do with the Z and the V mount is actually attach it to the rotator before your camera. When you just have a ball head attached to the Move Shoot Move, it works just fine, but it can be kind of challenging because your camera's still so close to your rotator. You can't orient it at every direction as easily as you'd like to. So this V mount makes a nice solid level platform for you to attach your camera to. I would actually really recommend picking up the V mount. I think the Z might be unnecessary because it just has another moving part and can lift it even higher. This V mount does the job just perfectly. So let me show you what it looks like when you're fully set up. So I kind of have to pan up to see all of this, but this is my favorite use I've found for the V mount, is to attach it to the Move Shoot Move, to attach a ball head right on top. Again, this is an extra, this isn't necessary. You can just attach your ball head that's right here, right where this is attached, but this does give me a nicer plane that I can work off of. One of my favorite things is how much easier it now is to shoot with my camera horizontally. Because I was able to just move it and drop it down like that, now I can do these horizontal panoramas of the night sky. So that before would be not impossible, but not as easy because I didn't have that extra room. So this right here is my ideal Move Shoot Move setup. From bottom to top, I have my Benro 3-way geared head attached to the Move Shoot Move. I have my laser on this side, my polar scope on this side. I have my V mount supporting my ball head, which is supporting my camera. Not all of this is necessary. You can get away with using this wedge instead of the geared mount just fine. You can also use a ball head here, and this whole thing can get a lot more compact. But this is the beauty of Move Shoot Move. You can attach any of these different parts and make it exactly how you want it. So I hope this has been helpful to explain how the different parts work and exactly which parts you need for your photography style. So if you are looking to pick up any of this gear, I have links down below to get to moveshootmove.com, and then you can use the code ALEX at checkout to get 5% off. If you want any one-on-one consultation on what the best gear for you to purchase is, or how to use it once you get it, or how to process your images or anything like that, I offer one-on-one Zoom classes, and things are starting to open up. So if you're in the Colorado area, we can meet in person, and I would love to walk through everything with you. I also have links down below for my Buy Me a Coffee account, which I've already gotten a couple of coffees from you guys. So thank you so very much for that. All right, so please feel free to leave your questions in the comment sections, and I'm sure we can work through some stuff together. And that is where I'm going to leave it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. It means a lot to me. And when the stars are out, I'll see you there.